education somehow, huh? These schools started producing these kind of people, and that's what's happening in Pakistan, and those kind of people grew up and they started the Taliban, pretty much. The Taliban started off as, the Taliban word means students, by the way.
Yeah, I actually knew that.
Okay, yeah. So they started off, and well, they did, in Afghanistan, they did a lot of good things in terms of bringing justice and blah, 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 which were great, but then there are other parts of them, especially the ones in Pakistan, that have, that are very, very extremists, and they have a problem with everybody, pretty much. Everybody. And they don't treat everybody as Muslim either. Like, the state of Pakistan to them is outside of Islam, and anybody in theory can be treated as a non-Muslim. So they can just go and their idea is that they can blow up anything and anybody, and just for the sake of Islam. That's their theology in short. So they see these schools, they're like, so this is how they think, they killed our children, we are going to go and kill their children.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds to me like...
They bombed us.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It sounds to me that people in groups like this are one of the reasons it is so hard for, particularly in the Western world, and even more specifically with certain political organizations, why it is so hard to, for some people, to differentiate the word Muslim from terrorism.
Yes, well, I can see the problem, and if you ask me, we as Muslims are responsible for creating these kind of people. Especially, like, we are living in countries like the UK, and we've got a very big population of Muslims there, and we're breeding these people, we're funding them, and we're sending them all into different places to do all kinds of rubbish. And even if we do not doing that, we are silent. We are silent, and we just want to wish everything away or explain everything as a conspiracy. Yes, I'm sure there's conspiracies, going on. I'm sure the American administration doesn't have the best interest of Muslims in their heart.
Oh, no.
I'm sure that is true. But at the same time, we have a responsibility to deal with our mess. And that's what I'm shouting about, for myself, that I want the Muslim communities and all these Muslim organizations to realize what they're doing. And they just don't want to hear me, or they just don't want to hear anything. They just want to wish everything away and hope everything goes well. And that's just not right. And it's a sociological problem. A dead tree will not, change. It will not react, to anything. So our society is now at a very stagnant and dead position. No matter what you do to that tree, it just doesn't react. It's just like a dead animal or something. It just won't react to anything. It's just silent about everything. So somehow I think reviving the Muslim society is well, there's two ways to go about it. Either the Muslim civilization, if you ask me, will be destroyed and fade, just like the Aztecs or Mayan or whatever other civilizations that have passed before us, or like China, we'll be able to revive ourselves by figuring out what's wrong and coming up with a plan to go back to where we originally were healthy. So until that happens, I think we'll keep producing people like these who will keep making a mess, not only for us, but increasingly for the rest of the world.
Well, Mein, we are out of time. I want to thank you for coming on, and thanks for telling your story.
Thank you so much, Steve, for having me. You have a wonderful show.
All right, thanks.
Right.
All right, folks, it's break time. So you've been listening to Liberty Unfiltered here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. And we're going to go ahead and go to break now. And when we come back, we'll talk some American history and some other stuff and talk about movies and all that other good junk. Be back in a few.
This is Vigilant Liberty Radio News from Independent Journal Review for Wednesday, December 17th. Recently released video of the interrogation of John Crawford's girlfriend shows that the police were attempting to coerce her into saying something. Crawford was killed in August by police while holding an airsoft rifle he picked up off a shelf in Walmart. In addition to grilling his girlfriend, police also resorted to threats of jail time and accusations that she was lying or on drugs. A grand jury decided not to indict the officer that shot Crawford, which caused his name to be added with the names of Michael Brown and Eric Garner in protests across the country. ISIS has taken to using a new kind of bomb in their offensives against opponents in the field: scorpion bombs. This is not the name of a new technology, but truth in advertising, since the bombs are filled with live poisonous scorpions. While this shows some degree of ingenuity, ISIS did not come up with this idea on their own. Scorpion bombs were used in Iraq before, during a war against the Roman Empire. On the other side of the war against ISIS, the U.S. is introducing a new bullet to the battlefield. Instead of just regular rounds, U.S. snipers will soon be able to use smart bullets that can sense laser sights, hitting where the laser is pointing. This means that U.S. snipers will have a much higher success rate when attempting to hit moving targets, assuming that they can keep the laser trained on their targets. This will be useful in attacking ISIS in the field, making it possible to hit small moving targets from a significant distance. Pennsylvania federal judge Arthur Schwab has determined that Obama's executive amnesty is unconstitutional. According to Schwab, the executive order goes, quote, beyond prosecutorial discretion. As a result of that, the order itself is unconstitutional. Schwab, who was appointed by President George W. Bush in 2002, also used Obama's own words against him, pointing out that the president was opposed to this sort of action previously. Schwab concluded, quote, President Obama's unilateral legislative action violates the separation of powers provided for in the U.S. Constitution, as well as the Take Care Clause, and therefore is unconstitutional. I'm Liz Harrison, and this has been your Vigilant Liberty Radio News from Independent Journal Review for Wednesday, December 17th.
Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Hi, this is Taylor Millard. Be sure to catch my show, Saturday Night Cigar Lounge, right here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. If you don't, I'll add you to my grudge list. Just ask the Washington Examiner's Ash Scow at Saturday Night Cigar Lounge here on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
Still they call me the man.
Hi, this is Jazz Shaw. Be sure to join Doug Mataconis and me at 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays for Glitter Nerds Radio here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. It's not as much about the politics as the people behind the politics. That's Glitter Nerds Radio, Thursdays at 9 Eastern on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
Hi, I'm Dustin Hoyt with America Our Way, and you can hear me right here on Vigilant Liberty Radio at 10/9 Central on Thursday nights. We bring you the best in political commentary from the right-wing, conservative, libertarian perspectives coming together and bringing the best content on the internet. Be sure to tune in every week for your favorite shows. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
Hi, this is Alan Bordius of theirfinesthour.net. Catch me here on VLR Monday nights and also on Tuesday nights on the Roundtable of Extreme Liberty.
This is Liz Harrison. And you know, I have no idea how many times people have told me conservative women can't be sexy. Well, we can prove them wrong. Listen here on Vigilant Liberty Radio, Friday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, the Conservative Feminist Show, where the ladies are kink-servative.
All right, folks, you are back on Liberty Unfiltered. I'm your host, Steve Long, here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. We just finished talking to Mein, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to butcher his last name, even though I said I wouldn't. Or it was his first name that I was going to butcher. His full name is... I just call him Mein. Last name is Hussain, and he was a aid worker in Syria, was kidnapped and tortured. So if you missed that, be sure to go and listen to the archive later. It was a very interesting story and some enlightening things about what is wrong with the Muslim world and what we can do to fix it. Anyway, we'll go ahead and then run over our Once Upon a Time in America part of the show. Some interesting stuff happened this week in history. Not a whole lot, but there were some interesting things. So starting off with December 14th, 1819, Alabama becomes the 22nd state. In 1903, the Wright brothers attempted their first flight in Kitty Hawk, South Carolina. In 2012, 28 people were killed at an elementary school in Sandy Hook, Connecticut. And, of course, that prompted years of screening by the anti-gun nuts. December 15th, in 1791, the Bill of Rights is ratified by the Virginia General Assembly. In 1933, the 21st Amendment to the Constitution becomes effective. This, of course, was the amendment that repealed the 18th, which prohibited the sale, manufacture, and transportation of alcohol. 1973, homosexuality is removed from the list of mental disorders from the by the American Psychiatric Association. 1978, President Jimmy Carter announces the U.S. will cut off diplomatic relations with Taiwan and begin diplomatic relations with the People's Republic of China. December 16th, in 1773, the Sons of Liberty dump hundreds of crates of tea into the harbor in Boston to protest the Tea Act, which, of course, put a tax on tea. December 17th, 1903, the Wright brothers make their first successful controlled flight in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. And in 1989, on December 17th, the first episode of The Simpsons airs. I know that was very important to everybody. December 18th, 1787, New Jersey ratifies the Constitution. It is the third state to do so. December 19th, Thomas Paine publishes The American Crisis, which is a series of pamphlets that came out in the Pennsylvania Journal. That was in 1776. In 1998, President Bill Clinton was impeached by the U.S. House of Representatives. And on December 20th, in 1803, the Louisiana Purchase becomes official. And on that same day, in 1860, South Carolina secedes from the United States. So, interesting stuff going on this week in history. But we now come to that part of the show that I like to call the Geek Minute, where I talk about geeky things, news, let's say geek-worthy